and welcome to Saints Live, the final whistle. I'm Steve Forbes.
I'm Kenzie Benali.
And you might be able to hear the remaining jubilant Brighton fans exiting the stadium. Southampton suffer late heartbreak here at St Mary's with a goal in the dying seconds, earning Brighton a 1-1 draw against Southampton. Now, joining us to talk all about the match, we've got former Saints captain Dean Hammond and former writer for the Southern Daily Echo, Adam Leach. Now, Dean, how do we describe this game now after such late drama? Disappointing, should we say, for the Saints supporters?
I think you used the word, Steve, deflating. I thought the Southampton player today, credit to them, were fantastic. You know, on and off the ball. The one thing I was impressed with, the work rate off the ball as a team was amazing. Honestly, it was so intense. They did not allow Brighton to settle. Started the game brilliantly with a fantastic goal, opportunities created, and dominated a good Brighton team. So to concede like the goal in the last minute is so difficult to take. It's so frustrating. It's almost worse than a loss because you're there. The 3 points are yours. You've worked so hard. The stuff you've done in training has come off. It was a brilliant team performance and lots of excellent individual performances as well. So I feel for the players. I really do. I'm gutted for them because they deserve more. I don't think Brighton deserved anything out of the game, and that was credit to Southampton. I don't think Brighton performed badly. I just don't think Southampton allowed them to play. And when Southampton had the ball, they were exciting to watch. They played with a real tempo. It's just deflating. We spoke about it during the game. It was getting that second goal, and I think that Broja opportunity, you know, early in the second half, we didn't quite connect with it. I think that would have put the game to bed because Southampton were pretty comfortable, really. I was sitting there watching it. I wasn't really worried too much. Brighton didn't have too many chances. But if you don't kill a game off at this level, that's what can happen. So, yeah, I feel for the players. I really do, because I honestly believe that was one of the best performances this season. But unfortunately, it's not ended with 3 points.
Yeah, Adam, Dean said there it can feel worse than a loss. And it was a very good performance from Southampton for the duration of the match. But just not getting that second goal has cost us again.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing, Steve, is it kind of... I'm sat here now, I have to remind myself they did actually get a point because it feels so much like a defeat. But it was actually a draw still. I think Dean's right about the second goal and killing it off. But in my mind, that really should have come in the first half. Saints were so dominant in the first half. And I think if you got one criticism of this team, really, it is that they're not quite as clinical as they need to be. And I think that was really borne out in that first half performance. A more clinical team would have given themselves a cushion, given the level of dominance they had, because Saints were superb in that first half. They were really excellent. I mean, they were good in the second half as well, and Brighton struggled to get into it. I think you could just sense a little bit of nerves, a little bit of pressure coming into Saints in maybe the last 20 minutes. They just started to feel as if they were just dropping a little bit deeper. They lost a little tiny bit of that aggression and forward momentum that had been so decisive in the match up to that point, and just was starting to give that impression that they were feeling like they needed to manage the game and settle. They didn't really manage the game, unfortunately, at the end. Unfortunate for Prowsey, really. I think 2 mistakes from him, really, which is a real shame, given his quality. And in the end, Saints. Yeah, it's just a very, very difficult one to take, I think, because they deserved to win that game, really. They should have won that game, and they should have been relatively comfortable, even given Brighton's late goal. In the end, to come away with a point, and now you've got to go to Arsenal. It's a big week for Ralph. I think he's got a big job to do to pick up the players mentally and emotionally after that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredibly disappointing. But Dean, let's talk about Armando Broja. What a goal that was. It was pretty special.
It was. He started the game on fire, to be honest. You know, he had that opportunity early on where Shea Adams put him through. Excellent save by Sanchez. And he looked really, really bright. And the goal came from, I think it was a bit of pressure. Southampton putting Brighton under pressure again, winning the ball back. A good flick on by Nathan Redmond, who had found himself in a central position. And he was just so calm, so collective, and he's been in those positions before, and I'm watching it thinking, shoot, get a good contact, and he just dummies. Duffy comes flying in. It's almost like he's aware, I know you're going to do that. I larged this tackle, cut inside, and then it's just the outside of his right foot. It's brilliant. I mean, the quality to do that is superb, and really, really calm. For such a young man, That shows real talent, and I thought he was excellent again today. He led the line brilliant. He's a really powerful runner. He gets in some really good goal scoring opportunities in good areas. He knows where the goal is. Only criticism was that second opportunity in the second half. Could he have scored that? Just didn't quite get the contact, but the goal was brilliant. It really, really was. Real composure, and just he's got that calm mind in that really important moment. I'm not just going to slash at this. Almost like the first opportunity I tried that the first time, I took the shot on. This time I'm going to check back and I'm going to finish. But it was the outside of the foot that didn't allow Sanchez to set his feet and be able to get a save on the ball. So brilliant goal, and I thought he was very, very good today.
Yeah, very composed for such a young striker. Adam, it was another assist for Nathan Redmond, his 4th in 4 home games, and the first Southampton player to do so.
Yeah, and he was. I thought he was outstanding today, Steve. I think it was interesting watching him, bearing in mind what Dean said in the pre-match show about how he seems to have enjoyed playing in these slightly different positions as Ralph has moved him around. And I think that's true. And I think we saw that in his performance today, in the sense that he was really happy to kind of move and to drift into holes, into spaces. And that caused Brighton an awful lot of problems. They didn't really know at times exactly how to deal with him. The assist was quality, but his all-round game was excellent. And Nathan is kind of feels like Nathan's the ultimate confidence player, really. We've seen that during his time at Saints. It's been up and down from being at times like player of the season and feeling like, God, this guy, he could do anything. He's so good. To at times they can't even get him on the pitch because he just can't. Mentally, he's kind of feels like he's a little bit lacking in confidence, and he can't do the things he needs to do to be a top player. But he's got that confidence at the moment. He's got that buzz around him, that feeling, and you know what he's like when he's like that. He'll pick up the ball, he'll run at people. He's fearless. He doesn't mind losing the ball, and kind of the crowd go, the groans of when you lose a ball as a winger. He'll pick it up, he'll go again, and that's when he's at his best. And that is the kind of form he's in right now, and it's really, really encouraging for Saints. And hopefully they can keep him fit and keep him in this mindset, because he's a handful for any team when he's like this.
He certainly is. Well, let's keep the chat on the front four, shall we? Specifically, the two leading the line today. You said before the game, Dean, that you liked that partnership between Broja and Adams. How did they do as a pairing for you today?
Really effective, really, really effective. And started the game bright. Like I say, Shay Adams getting on the half turn, putting Broja in, him having an opportunity, Shay getting the rebound, 2 very good saves by Sanchez. But I thought they worked well today. Like I said before, they're both so powerful. They're really strong runners, and both physically good. And usually then you're kind of a target man, you're a little bit laboured, but both of them can run in behind, and that caused Brighton a lot of problems today. They linked up pretty well. So I think there is a partnership within there. And like we touched on before the game, Ralph has lots of options. Adam Armstrong is a very good striker. You've got Theo Walcott who can play up top. Teller can play up top. You've still got Shane Long within the group. So there's lots of competitions. But those two today were very, very good. And I'd like to see them play more together. I really would, because I think they can cause teams problems. Like I say, they both run in behind. They're willing runners. They get into good positions. Shay, we've seen the goals he scores. He's improving on that part as well, getting into better areas. And Broja he's a delight to watch, really is. At times he's going to frustrate you because he's young and he will make mistakes, but he will score goals, definitely. So I think he's a really, really good signing. And them two playing together, I think can be really, really effective for Southampton.
Well, we have to get on to the late Brighton equaliser. It was a real sickener, Adam. I've got down here, was it deserved? But I think I know your opinion, so let me rephrase that as, how undeserved was it?
Yeah, well, I think quite undeserved, frankly, Steve. I think Saints were good value for the 3 points today. It was unfortunate in a sense, as I said earlier, that Saints kind of, to me, just got a little bit nervy. They sort of started to step off a little bit. And then that injury happened, obviously a long break. And then suddenly you've got 10 minutes of stoppage time. You've had a long break. You've lost your rhythm, your momentum. The momentum of the game has gone. It's changed at that point. And Saints, I think then you're coming back into the match again, basically feeling like, right, okay, it's 10 minutes, but I think you're also thinking, well, there's just stoppage time. So we're now in just see this out mode. We just got to manage this game. We got to shut this down. And I think that was unfortunate in the sense that it kind of, I think, in the minds of the players, made them a little bit more tentative. I say negatives, perhaps the wrong word, but they weren't pressing at any point. They were kind of by that point sitting back. And though Brighton, they didn't really threaten much. When that's happening, there's always a chance. You need one mistake, and that's kind of what we saw there. One mistake, gave the ball away, ended up with a free kick. Prowse, I don't know whether that's something they worked on. I have no idea why he's dropping back on the line for that free kick, but obviously he's not out quick enough then, and they're all onside. And yeah, you kind of just feels like a kick in the guts, frankly, at that point in time, because you've done the hard work. Then, if you're a Saints player, they know that they deserve the 3 points, and they haven't got them, and that's a really, really tough one to take.
Yeah, it certainly is a difficult one to take indeed, Adam. Now, Dean, we've spoken about the partnership between Broja and Adams. Looking at the opposite end of the pitch, how did Lianco and Salisu work together today for you?
Brilliant. I thought they fully deserved a clean sheet. I know they didn't get one in the end, but I think they deserved that. Lianco came in, loved how aggressive he was, played with real enthusiasm, was good on the ball. Salisu, I think, is improving all the time. And I think it just helps the way Southampton play, and it allows the other players to press because they try and win the ball in front of the forwards. They try to win interceptions. They play that high line, so they're not really dropping deep. I agree with Adam. As the game went on, going to stop it, did drop a little bit deep, but that's a natural thing to do. You're trying to protect the goal. But I thought they were excellent. They won their headers, done the basics very, very well. Were both very, very comfortable on the ball. So as a partnership, good, really good. And I love the balance because Salisu is left-footed. I know it's such a simple thing, but having a left-footed sided centre-half just really helps, especially when you want to play out from the back. And Lianco was comfortable on the ball and aggressive and pretty quick, actually. His recovery runs look fit for a player that's not played too many 90 minutes in the Premier League or not too many 90 minutes in competitive games. So credit to him. So I think it worked well. And the biggest credit you can give them or compliment is that we didn't really miss Benderak today, who's been excellent. And that's nothing against him, but I think both players performed very well today.
Well, Lianco's a bit of a cult hero already at Southampton, but a firm fan favourite is Nathan Tella. He got his second start in 4 days, Adam. What has he done well, and what do you think maybe he still has to work on?
Oh, Steve, I think he's in that kind of slightly tricky phase now because he's not a surprise package anymore. Other teams know about him. They know his strengths. They know his weaknesses now. And also, I think from a Saints point of view, he's kind of got to find that mixture that is difficult for a young player sometimes, I think, in his position and the way he plays, between kind of having the freedom to express yourself, to pick up the ball, to run at players, and to risk making mistakes and losing the ball, coupled with kind of being a team player as well, because it's very clear that Nathan Teller's not just a selfish player who's just going to go and do his own thing. He's trying to follow instruction. That's really clear. And he's working very, very hard. And that's credit to him, all credit to him. But to find that balance between being a team player, so therefore putting in a real shift and kind of covering holes and being that sort of first line of defence, but also giving yourself the freedom to be able to attack. And I think that's the challenge for him at the moment, and for Ralph in managing him, is to find that balance, because I think you don't want to tip too far in the side of taking away from his natural game, because that's why he's in the team, for that raw pace, for his talent and his ability going forward. So I think for me at the moment, that's probably the struggle that they're going through. It's a natural thing, I feel. I think he will come out the other end of it with experience and with more games, but I think that's what Ralph's got to manage with him at the moment.
Well, let's look forward now then, shall we, Dean? Next up, it's Arsenal away. That's going to be a tricky one. What are your early thoughts on that?
Yeah, it'll be a test. Arsenal have improved as the season have gone on. Coming off a defeat against Manchester United, I think they play Everton on Monday, so it'd be interesting to see how they react from that. But look, I think Southampton over the last 2 games against Leicester and Brighton have been excellent. They really have, and just the way they've worked, they look like a real team. I know we've drawn today and we've drawn against Leicester, and there will be some disappointment, but I was so impressed with the performance. The way they work together, it looks like so much work goes in on the training ground from the manager and the players, because there's just clear instructions, clear understanding. They know the game plan. There's loads of energy. It looks like they enjoy playing together. There's that youthfulness within the group. So take that to Arsenal. Arsenal are a good team, but they're very beatable. So I would, take some confidence from these last 2 results. Adam mentioned it. Feel the emotion of that disappointment. Feel that as a player. You'll have that in the dressing room now. And then, put that to bed over the next couple of days. Come in early next week and start preparing for that Arsenal game. But if they play with that pace, that energy, that togetherness, they've got every chance of beating Arsenal. Yes, they're going to have to defend well, but they've got real threats, attacking threats in the Southampton team. And they're really enjoyable to watch. So give them a lot of credit for this week, because the last 2 games, I think they've been very impressive.
Now, we're talking about enjoyable to watch, Adam. It was quite an exciting game at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Arsenal the other night, and Mikel Arteta said that he thought they should have got something from that game. So they'll be looking to bounce back, although they play Everton beforehand, but also against Southampton away.
Yeah, I think Dean hit upon it there. Arsenal are a vastly improved team from what you would have got had you played them at the start of the season, and they're looking good. It's a tough game. It's a difficult game for Saints. There's no doubt about that. So it's tough, but Saints have got the kind of armoury, I think, and weaponry that can cause Arsenal some problems. Arsenal defensively, there's still, I think, a lot of question marks over them at the moment, and Saints have the kind of players that can cause some problems. And I think we saw with Broja today leading the line as well, like how effective he can be. And I think with his physical presence and his ability, he's the kind of player who can really cause them some serious issues. I think the key for Saints is going to be for Ralph to try and pick up the guys after this. But the good news for them is going to Arsenal, they probably go there as underdogs. Most people wouldn't expect an awful lot, wouldn't expect a performance. And maybe after a week that's been quite difficult with two high pressure games at home. But at the end of this week, the table still doesn't look too unkind to Saints at the moment. It still looks pretty good. They go to Arsenal, perhaps with a little less pressure than we might have anticipated had we said at the start of the week they only had 2 points from these 2 games. So there's kind of a bit of swings and roundabouts for Saints. But I agree with Dean. I think overall the performances have been encouraging enough to suggest that there are some big results and some wins around the corner in the not too distant future. And with the players that Saints have got, and Arsenal's vulnerability still, despite their improvements, I think Saints go there with a puncher's chance of getting something.
Nice, definitely. Well, we have just had some news just in. Ralph has just said in his post-match interview that Alex McCarthy did actually pick up a hamstring injury during the game, which does shed some light on why Lianco was taking the goal kick. So we will have to keep our eyes peeled on how that develops. But as we have mentioned, it is a trip to the Emirates next. As always, we'll be back here on Saints Live and the Final Whistle. Thank you so much to Dean Hammond for joining us here at St Mary's Stadium. Lovely to have you with us in person. And so nice of you, Adam, to take a break from your holiday and join us as well. Now, you, the fans, thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next week. But until then, take care, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.